Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Roy. I am a home cook and amateur baker, and I am here on this channel sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Today is not a recipe, it is a back to basics tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to caramelize onions. Now you might be saying, why do I want to caramelize onions? You've apparently never had them. They are so good. I think, even Jennifer Lynn, who hates onions, or at least does not like them, I won't go that extreme. Jennifer Lynn, I think you might even like them this way. Just like you now like your Brussels sprouts as you cook them. I think you would like this. Caramelizing them, like the name says, brings out some of the natural sugars, darkens them, makes them almost jam-like. So good. Can use them on a burger, can use them on pizza, you can use them in a salad, you can use them any way you want. And the reason I'm showing you this now is that very soon when we get into the party season, festivities, the holidays, I am going to be doing some party items like dips, and one of them is going to be an onion bacon dip. And we're going to use caramelized onions for that. So I figured I would jump ahead, teach you how to do it, and then when we get to the dip, you'll know exactly what you're doing. So I have my skillet over here. I'm going to turn, I had it heating on medium, but I'm turning it up to medium high, because you want to get those onions really cooking. And I'm going to spray it because, if you've noticed, this is not a nonstick pan. You can use a nonstick pan for this, but having a nonstick pan wouldn't give you those brown bits that you get from cooking in a regular pan. That Maillard reaction I had spoken about a while back, where flavors develop when food turns brown. That's what's going to happen here. So this isn't going to be raw onions. This is going to be deliciousness. Now I have 2 pounds of onions. That might sound like a lot, but kind of like with spinach and things like that, they are really going to cook down. So get ready for a sizzle. So yeah, I have 2 pounds here. You could do 1 pound, you could do half. I mean, there's no set amount that you need to make. It's just whatever you're going to use. And like I said, this cooks down quite a bit, as you'll see. Now, I didn't worry about breaking them up, because as they cook, they are going to break up. But if you are not sure how to cut the onions, because these are onion slices, and if you're not sure how to make onion slices, because there is a correct way to cut them so that they don't fall apart on you, I do have a tutorial on cutting onions different ways, and I will put the card up here for that, as well as leave it in the description box below. So I'm just going to break up these clumps a little bit. I don't have to worry too much about it, because as they cook, they will break down more. And I am going to give them a little bit of kosher salt. You could use regular table salt, just don't use as much. You always use half of the table salt that you would of kosher salt. And what the salt is going to do is help some of the juices come out of the onions, and that's just going to help them caramelize all the better. So definitely worth salting your onions. Now you might notice there are some little green bits in here. Those were the interior of the onion. That was like the part that would have grown out of the ground. It started to get green again. You don't have to worry about getting those out of there. If you don't like the look of them, you can take them out, but it's not necessary. All right, so what we're gonna do is just let this sit here for maybe 3 minutes because we want it to sit. If we keep stirring it, it's not gonna brown. So what we wanna do is let them sit for a while, let them start to turn color, and then we will mix them through, let them sit again, mix them through. The whole process takes maybe about 15 minutes or so. But again, it depends on your stove, on your pan, on a lot of things. This is not something you can just turn on and walk away from. You just have to, you have 3 minutes, you can do something, like check your messages, check your Facebook, what have you. But you don't want to walk away from this while it's cooking for too long. You have a few minutes. So I am going to be back shortly to show you the progress. And I'm also going to do a little time lapse of all of this so that you can see the whole process as it's going through. So I will be back in just a moment. Okay, so they are starting to get brown a little bit. So we're just going to stir those through because you don't want any one part of it, if you can see me through the steam, sitting on the heat for too long. You want to let it sit for a few minutes, stir it, sit for a few minutes, stir it. So we're going to let this go a little bit longer. Again, like I said, I will time lapse the overhead shot so that you can see the progress much faster than me keep coming back and interrupting. So I will be back shortly. Oh, I am interrupting here because one thing I did forget to mention is that the onions are cut just about 1/4 of an inch thick. You don't want them too thick for caramelizing. It's much better if they are thinner pieces. So, but you'll see on the video about onions how I cut them, and you can go from there. So again, I'll be back. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes so far, and I have turned down the heat to medium just because the bottom was getting a little dark a little fast. So now what I'm going to do is just add in a little water to scrape up some of that stuff on the bottom. Actually, I may need to change my spoon because I don't know if the silicone will actually scrape anything up. But I'm not just going to add water. I want to add a little bit of flavor at the same time. So I am going to add a little of the Better Than Bouillon beef, just a tiny bit, just to give it, that's maybe 1/4 teaspoon. And I'm also going to give it a little Worcestershire sauce, or as Trisha Yearwood calls it on her show, what's this here sauce? I can't even say that right with my jaw. So I'm just going to put in a couple of dashes, and I guess I'll give some to the counter as well, a sacrifice. This will just enhance some of those beefy flavors that you get from caramelizing onions. It's not necessary. You could just add a little water and scrape out on the bottom, and it'd still be delicious. but I like adding a little touch of the beef broth and a touch of Worcestershire just to enhance everything. So let me put this stuff away, get a spoon that might actually work on scraping up the bottom, and I'll be right back. Okay, so mix this in and just splash it all over. And then I got my little wooden spoon here, as well as a little sauna. I'm just going to scrape up the fond, as they call it. When food during the Maillard process, as I was talking about, when it turns brown, it'll leave things behind on the pan, and that is called fond. Not sure why. Probably French term, I'm thinking. But you just want to get that mixed in there, scrape up some of that goodness on the bottom, and you can see, if the steam gets out of the way, they're starting to get very wet, not just from the water, but also from the cooking. And they're going to start to, the moisture that came out of them is going to kind of, it's got some sugars, natural sugars in it, that are going to start to caramelize and kind of gel up. So it's going to become almost jam-like. All right, so I got most of that scraped up from the bottom. And now I will just let it keep going, let it sit, stir. This is not a quick process, but it is a delicious result. So I'll be back. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes. I'm just going to one more time deglaze the bottom of the pan, meaning you're going to scrape up that fond, the brown bits down at the bottom. And I'm just doing it with plain water this time, so I'm not going to be adding more of the broth or Worcestershire sauce. I just want to get some of the natural flavors from the pan and incorporate those back into the onions. And you can see it's wilted down quite a bit. You might have thought, oh my God, there's so many onions in there. But if you look in here now, it doesn't look like as much as we started with. But there you have it, caramelized onions. Now, I could let them go a little bit longer if I wanted them a little darker. Some people do get them almost to the burnt state. That's not my thing. I prefer just having this jammy brown onion goodness. But you can do as you like. If you like them a little darker, then you go for it. Okay, so the onion bacon dip that I was talking about doing probably within the next month or so, we'll use caramelized onions. We'll only use, I think, a pound for that. But it's a delicious party dip. 0 bites for 1 serving. It serves 12. And even if you had 2 to 3 servings, it would still be just 1 bite or 1 blue point. I'm on the iTrack Bites Better Balance plan, which is the equivalent to WW Blue. So when I say bites and points, it usually equates to those 2. But there you have it. Let me turn that off so we don't go any further. But there are your caramelized onions. Now, like I said, these would be great on a pizza. What I like to do, I would use my biscuit dough, and I'll leave a card for that here, as well as a link in the description box. And I cut the dough in half, so there's a pizza for me, a pizza for Paul. I would puree some of my fat-free cottage cheese. 1/3 cup is 0. and put some onions and maybe a little cinder cut bacon and cook that up in the oven. That would be delicious. So there are plenty of options. These are great on a burger, on a grilled cheese. They're delicious. So this is a very useful, handy little treat to have around the house. And I will give you a use for it coming up soon. Now this is obviously all we did was cook onions, added a little beef broth and a little bit of Worcestershire. 0 bites, 0 points, because we didn't add anything in here really except the onions, and what we did add in was no bites, no points. So I hope you found this tutorial useful, and I hope that you'll be back to use it when I get to the dip in a few weeks. But if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet and you are looking for recipes to help you on a weight loss journey. And hit the notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video. Like coming up this Sunday, Halloween, I'm part of a collaboration with a bunch of other channels. We're going to be doing some Halloween type treats. So hopefully you'll get notified if you hit that notification bell. And comment down below if you enjoy caramelized onions, if you're like my friend Jennifer Lynn, who does not like onions at all. Just let me know. And also follow me over on social media. I will leave my Instagram handle here. And there are 2 Facebook groups that I am part of. One is Recipes with Roy. Hello. And the other is Finding Our Way, W-E-I-G-H. And that one I co-admin with onion-hating Jennifer Lynn, as well as Bree Coleman, who hates mushrooms, from Balancing Life with Bree. So, and I hate seafood, so I'll call myself out on that one. So anyway, join us over there. Lots of great people, tips, tricks, support. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. There's always someone around who has some information that could help you. So I'm going to go pack away my caramelized onions and get ready to maybe make some pizza, some onion bacon dip. We shall see. But until next time, bye.